What is up, sports world? All around the world today, from Cape Cod to Cancun, from Vegas to the Vatican. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, CEO, founder of East Coast Sports Investors, the Breakfast Bankroll, your midday sports market report. It is Sunday, July 25th. Next Sunday at this time, August 1st. OMG. Football around the corner, but before then, we got plenty to talk about. So without further ado, my co-host from Tampa, the Palm Tree State, the one, the only, Scott E. Webb. What is up, my man, Scotty?
How you doing, Jeff? How you doing this morning, man?
I'm doing fine. The last Sunday in July, it was funny yesterday. I was doing some work outside, and the Red Sox were up 3-0. And I was planning to write a post basically saying, this team's not going to win the World Series. This team probably won't get to the World Series. But what an amazing year it's been, to embrace this, a team that wasn't expected, their starting pitching staff was just Band-Aid together. Who knew what they were getting from their back end? And then I come back and Yankees were up 4-3 and 1.
Well, that doesn't change. That doesn't change what the Red Sox have done. I mean, I was real high on the Red Sox when I wrote the preseason magazine this year, and I thought that they were being undervalued in a big way. Typically, a team that has talent and team that is historic like the Red Sox, they don't usually have seasons like they did a year ago. So when people think there's carryover from season to season with teams like that, it really doesn't happen that way. And I think you can see the value in what a manager can bring to a team because the team's not a whole lot different than what it was a year ago. I mean, it's a little bit different, but not a whole lot. And I think you can really say that the manager of that team melds those players together to a way in which they play very well. We talk about that all the time with the Yankees. They don't have a meld together where they play together, and you can see the difference.
I mean, I had said at the All-Star break that Alex Cora is the MVP currently for the Red Sox. What he has done day in, day out has just been, phenomenal. Some interesting things transpiring this week. I mean, their glaring hole, one of them obviously, is at first base. And there's a move out there. I don't know what the cost. They were trying to compare the cost that you raised did with Nelson Cruz. You gave up a 9 and a 17 on your prospects. Now your prospects are rated a lot higher than ours. So what would it cost the Red Sox? Because they didn't need a DH. They have JD Martinez. But if they could add Anthony Rizzo at first base, to add to what they have already in the infield with Devers, with Bogarts, with Kiki. Absolute game changer in my eyes. Defensively, the left-handed bat that they're desperately looking for, the likable qualities that Rizzo brings to the dugout. Thoughts on Rizzo potentially coming to Boston?
Yeah, I think that a lot of fans look at baseball and they think, hey, that's a big name. Let's put him at first base because we need a first baseman. But I think general managers don't always do that. I think that a general manager, and I'm not saying that Rizzo's not a good fit there. That's not what I'm saying. I just think that general managers look at it a little different. They look at who is their competition when they get to the playoffs and how are they going to beat them. So if you're gonna beat the Astros, for example, you might have to outscore them, and I think that Rizzo might be an opportunity there to help you score runs, right? But if you're gonna play the White Sox, you're gonna have to outpitch the White Sox, and then you're gonna have to out-hit the White Sox. So I guess he's a good fit depending on what you give up, because I wouldn't want to give up your pitching for next season and beyond for Rizzo today when you might not win regardless. It's just when you have to pitch in the playoffs and you have the three guys that you need to run out there, they better be good. And I look at the Red Sox and think, I don't think they have the best top three guys that are going to go out. So maybe if they want to try to win this year, you better get a top line pitcher. So it just depends on what they want to do. So I think Rizzo was a good long-term fit. I mean, he's going to fit there for a long time. Not that a big major league ace type pitcher wouldn't either, but it just depends on what they decide they want to do. And Jaime Bloom is from the Rays, and my guess is that he's not going to go out and mortgage everything to get Rizzo.
Yeah, and we've talked at length about the Sox are a year ahead of schedule. They talked about the Cruz deal, and then that would fit right around the Houck prospect. And I know the Sox wouldn't give up Houck. They're not going to give up some of these names. They talked about Groom, who's had some off the field issues. He's had some arm issues, that type, and some other players. Interested. No, like you said, the wild card obviously is Sale. Sale, pitched a couple rehabs already. I think he's got 2 or 3 left. I mean, if Sale comes back as the old Sale, I just don't want the mentality is, hey, listen, we've already brought up Duran, who's looked amazing. They brought up another bat, and they got Sale on the way. I mean, if they just sit back and don't do anything, I think it's kind of a slap in the face when you have the opportunity, because it doesn't happen every year. Yes, you're the Red Sox. It's supposed to happen every year, but just look at the Yankees right now. Certain circumstances, every year can't be that being a year. The Sox lead the majors in comeback wins. I mean, usually the numbers state once you get to that 6, 7, 8, 9, and you're down, you're going to lose about 75 to 80% of those games. And they've just been the outlier.
Yeah, I think it's just a cautionary tale. And, these are multi-million-dollar businesses, and your executive people, this is what separates the good ones. So we'll just see what happens there. And surprisingly, I was pretty surprised, to be honest, that the Rays went out and got Nelson Cruz. That was I think that was a statement maker that they made. I think they said, hey, you know what? We went to the World Series last year, and we just gave away all our pitchers, and we have a chance to go to the World Series this year. What's it going to take? Well, they went and got Nelson Cruz. So I kind of like that move, and I think that makes a statement to both the Red Sox. I think it makes a statement to the Yankees, and I keep seeing everybody saying, well, the Yankees can get this person and that person and this person and that person. Well, they better start, because they're like losing. So if you're going to go get somebody, what are you waiting on? You're playing the Red Sox now. You played the Rays. You're getting ready to play all these teams again. You can't afford to wait anymore. These teams are waiting for somebody like, I guess they were talking about Byron Buxton and this guy and that guy. And I'm like, okay, well, you guys are just sitting around talking, and the team that's actually making the moves is the Rays, and now they're tied for the lead. So I just look at it like, we'll see what happens. I'm expecting, to be honest, I'm expecting a lot. I think I feel bad for you and ECSI with the Nationals played, only because I think they're sellers now. I think they're going to sell anything and everything that they can get. I just think they're going to sell. I think they're going to sell Scherzer. I think they're going to try to get rid of anybody that they're just talking about. What's that relief guy? Hudson, the relief guy. I think he's a great value to some team. So My biggest thing would be is watch out for the Blue Jays, because I think the Blue Jays can get a good pitcher. I think the Blue Jays can, and I keep saying this, but they need to get the pitching because they can hit.
Well, that was going to be my lead in. Now you've hit two subjects here before we get to the market. The Nationals, you're absolutely correct. Sometimes you're in the right spot and it's the right time. And sometimes, unfortunately, we make that play and 2 days later, Schwarber goes down, and then it just crumbled from there. Buying or selling the Mad Max scratch, that little tightness, wink, wink, maybe a deal getting closer, or they say he's going to make his next start. I assume there was some people already knocking, like you said, with the Rays and the Nelly Cruz deal. I mean, they set the bar. They're like, okay, Boston, this is what we're going to do. Now, Max was scheduled to start yesterday. There's talks of them selling and him being obviously the number one pitcher on the market. Was that precautionary, or do you think there's something getting close?
I think he's gone. I think something's going to happen for Max. If you're a contender, why wouldn't you want Max Scherzer? The only contingency is with, like, some of these guys, like Nelson Cruz comes over. He's a rental. I mean, he's not necessarily a re-signed guy for sure. He may fall in love with the Rays and but I think he fell in love with the Twins, to be honest. So I think he might want to go back there. But that being said, a guy like Max Scherzer, he's already said, I don't want to go anywhere unless I'm going to sign someplace. So I mean, obviously they don't necessarily get to control their own fate to a certain degree, but a guy like him who's been in the league for as long as he has, he's got rules that apply to him that he can use to veto stuff. So he's a little different scenario, only not that Nelson Cruz wasn't, but not that he's in a position where I think that he can almost, I don't want to say dictate where he goes, but he's gonna be one of those guys. I don't know if it's going to be like the Mookie Betts thing where they get the guy and then they work on the contract, or even Lindor and all those guys, they moved and then they got re-signed by the team that took them. I think he's going to want to be partly in the negotiation of the re-sign before the trade goes down, or he's probably going to veto the trade.
All right, let's tiptoe over to the market. It's been a crazy weekend. Favorite 7 and 8, overs 5 and 10. Some big dogs that cashed. The D-backs plus 155, Marlins plus 142, Pirates plus 237, and the Yankees plus 156. Some crazy stuff. I thought that the Giants were ripe this weekend. They come off a great series against the Dodgers, back-to-back Kelly Jansen blowups, I guess you could say, for them to come home and now to be 0-2 against the Pirates. Miami, the Padres is that one preseason team that we all thought obviously would be pressing the Dodgers. They've had some injuries. Our buddy Craig on social media talked about they had a stretch where they played 28 games in 28 days, and that does catch up to your bullpen, your starting pitchers, especially if you got guys like Snell and Paddock that aren't going long, so they're taxing the bullpens as we speak. Today is closing day, as we like to say it here on ECSI. It's a day that you wake up, if your last day of the week. We call it Quicksand Sunday. If you're down a handful of units, you want to get them back. You don't want to pay the man. And Sundays just aren't, they never line up that way. On paper, they do. I mean, you got some big time favorites here that you and I both know at the end of the day aren't going to come running in.
It happens that way every week, doesn't it? I mean, well, I just even say every week. It's every day that you can go out there and say, hey, this guy's going to win, or this guy's going to do that, or this pitcher is going to be dominant over this, and blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden they wake up and their arm falls off. So I don't think, it's a little different than football in a sense that, baseball, there's so many games and so many circumstances and situations. And, we're unfortunately not with teams and following them and traveling with them to get a camaraderie feel or a tiredness feel or okay, this guy's getting a divorce from his wife, and all that kind of stuff happens. It's life, and that does affect baseball. I mean, I know it sounds silly, but the truth is how guys feel and what they feel like when they go out on the playing field matters. If they're excited and ready to go, you've got an edge, because not everybody's going to be excited and ready to go on an everyday scale when they play 162 games. So if you can find those right scenarios, that makes a difference, which means that the Pirates are going to beat the Giants, and currently the Arizona Diamondbacks lead Major League Baseball in offense. So, I mean, come on. We just talked about this the other day. The Houston Astros were last in the league. And over the course of time, stuff happens. And that's why you just have to pay attention, because when you're paying attention, you can find stuff. And that we talked about the Detroit Tigers, and look what they did. Of course, they go to Kansas City and getting smacked around a little bit, but whatever. I mean, that's they go and scratch off 7 straight wins. So it's just interesting how sports are, because it's really sports, but because they're not robots and they're human people, we forget that sometimes, and that gets in the way of our thoughts and our thinking. And we need to also incorporate that these guys try, but at the same time that they try, they don't always feel good.
Let's tiptoe into the market here. We checked a few boxes for some overnight steam. Maybe get some of your thoughts there before we go to the lightning round and see what you're seeing today. Let's try to get this a little bigger for everyone watching. The 4 boxes that we had some overnight steam, the Red Sox opened at 125, currently at 138. It's circa Herman versus Perez. LA Angels at Minnesota. Minnesota opened at 107, currently 127 at circa. Barria versus Ober. We're just talking about the Tigers at Kansas City. We had at Pinnacle, Detroit opened up at 108 favorite. Now at circa, Kansas City is a 108 favorite. Washington, Baltimore, Espino and Means. Means second game back, opened at 124, now 113 at circa. And one of the better series of the weekend, Toronto at the Mets. Mets opened at 104 favorites. Stripling versus Hill. Your Rich Hill just got traded from your Rays to the Mets. Now he is Toronto is now a favorite at minus 115 at circa. Anything there that kind of catches your interest on some steam or some reverse line movement and flips?
Well, we talked last time that John Means pitched for Baltimore, and I talked about how guys do when they have to have a stint, right? I mean, of being on the injured list, and when they come back, they just are either rusty, they don't have it, they gotta feel their legs again, or whatever the injury was, they gotta feel strong, right? And he got shelled, and I like to bet against those guys. I'll stay betting against the guy off the injured list until he costs me money. So when it comes to that game that they're playing against the Washington Nationals, I don't really like the Nationals bullpen in this particular scenario. So I'll take Espino in the first 5 innings plus 100. That was one of my plays today, and I don't like John Means until he beats me. So not that Espino's the greatest pitcher in the world, but the truth of the matter is, when you look at Means' numbers, again, it's only 1 start, so you can't really get too far into it. But if you got a 7 xFIP number and a 7 Sierra number, I'm going to go against you every time almost. And that's where he's at. So, and Espino, he's just an average pitcher. Game scores of 51 for the season. So, but Washington's in the top 5 in hitting still. So I like that idea. where you're getting a little bit of value there as sort of a pick 'em. You mentioned the Red Sox game against the Yankees, and the interesting thing here is I tend to try to stay away from teams that have lost a game like what Boston did yesterday, just because it's not because it's something that's hard to overcome, but in statistics and data, that's a game they were supposed to win. So if they lost a game they're supposed to win, then that would make them 3-0 against the Red Sox or against the Yankees. So this will be a game they're supposed to lose. So I don't want to necessarily go against that number, but I don't have a strong enough pitcher to sit here and say Perez is gonna hold down the Yankees. He's pitched against them a couple times this season, and he's got a game score of 42 and a game score of 40 against them, which is well below average. Average is 50. German has pitched twice against the Red Sox, once a game score of 43 with no good either, but the other time was a 58. So he pitched a lot better in that game. German has been a 4 to 5 inning pitcher, especially lately, and he's been a bulk guy that has had an opener come in previously for him. So it's kind of a weird game to think there's going to be a lot of steam to me. And you got one guy at a 5.56 Sierra number and another one with a 4.45. So neither one of them strike anybody out anymore. And the batting average against for Perez is 352. So if you're going to have a team that's going to hit, I don't understand some of these moves sometimes when people bet them, and then they bet them a lot or whatever the steam rolls it up to. But it doesn't bother me to bet the Red Sox just because they've had the Yankees number, but it's not one of those scenarios where I want to pay extra. I would have rather have played early than late on that particular matchup. And I do like that Minnesota game where I think you talked about Ober against Barria. Barria hasn't started any games this year. Now, he was a starter, I think it was back 2-3 years ago now. And he kind of fell out of favor. Well, I shouldn't say fell out of favor. He just didn't pitch well. So he wasn't very good. So he didn't get a chance to stay long. And this year he has 0 starts, but you'll like this. He's made 6. He's pitched 6 innings so far all season. And he's given up 7 hits and 7 runs. So I mean, he's pitched 6 innings and gave up 7 runs. I don't like to bet on a guy like that. And currently, the Angels aren't hitting very well. So I don't mind Minnesota in this spot, but again, that's a team that's fallen out already and they're sellers. So it's hard to bet on teams that know that they're selling their players and don't have a lot of confidence in themselves. But I think, what is he, minus 115 or something like that, I think, Jeff? Yeah, yes. I don't mind minus 115 at home. Yeah, that's not going to be a big deal. And I think the last one you talked about was that Toronto and New York Mets game. And instead of trying to pick a guy who's going to win that game, I kind of like the over in that game because I think the line's set at 9. And Stripling's Sierra numbers 541 and Rich Hill's at 537. Neither one of them strike anybody out. They both got high whip rates. They both got high averages against, and they both give up home runs. And these are teams that are very good on offense currently. And I don't mind it going over the 9.
We actually showing 9.5 juice to the under now, minus 115 on that total. You talked about the Angels. Our only loss yesterday here with the VIP family was the Angels team total. We're getting plus money, plus 115 with them at over 4.5. They put up a 2 spot in the first inning, and that was it. And the actual highlight of that whole day was Sandoval brought a no-hitter going into the 9th, of course. That again, I should just, from here on out, I'm just going to black out any Twins game because it don't matter if we go with them, against them. We take a team the opposing team's team total, take their team. They're dead to us. They are on the DNP for sure. I think I've said that 3 times already this year. So, Boston, keep an eye on the weather there. I'm going to pull up the map right now. It's raining right now. I'm about an hour from Fenway as we speak, and it's raining here pretty good. I'm going to pull up the map there. Let me see here. 12% chance of rain at the first pitch. Wind is 14.4 miles an hour blowing out to dead center. So keep an eye on that, but it is going to be a wet track there. So with that being said, I see Curtis has been announced for Miami versus Darvish. Other than that, some interesting numbers for sure on our end. But without further ado, Scotty, let's give the people what they want in your lightning round and what you're seeing on the board for you today.
Yeah, those Miami Marlins are killing me with how late they've been picking out their pitchers and, what I have to do to get the numbers and everything to match up. And they drive me insane because I need numbers faster. But anyway, what I was looking at in one of the games we already talked about was the Washington Nationals. I'm on the Nationals today. I'm on Espino today against Baltimore. And I played it first 5 today, and I got plus 100. I think it's probably right in that same neighborhood. So it's kind of like a pick-em game. And then I got 2 other ones that I did play, and we mentioned it a little bit before. We talked about Detroit and Kansas City, and you said there's some steam coming in on Kansas City or line flip anyway. But I'm going to go against that. I'm going to take Skubal today. I like Skubal. I'm going to play him again in the first 5 innings. I'm not going to play in the backside. Detroit is in the top 5 in hitting right now, and I played it. I actually played it both ways in the first 5 innings. I played it on the money line. The money line was minus 120 in the first 5, and then I played it on the run line just because I wanted to get a little value. I figure if they're going to win, I got plus 105 minus the half a run. So the reason I did that is because Skubal is turning his numbers around to be. This is rookie season. He's a game score 50 on the season, but his SIERA numbers are 3.6. His XFIP numbers are 3.59. When those numbers are real close like that, I kind of like it, meaning that it's more solidified. The XFIP number is what a pitcher does without his defense. So that's walks, strikeouts, and home runs. And the other number, SIERA number, is a glorified, better version of a earned run average. So when those numbers match up like that, then that means that he's pretty good, pretty solid at what you should expect from him. And Lynch, who's starting for the Royals today, I listed him down, and we just talked about what was the pitcher we just talked about. We talked about the guy that was. Berea. So you'll like this. Lynch is an opener type pitcher. He's made 3 starts this season, and he's gone 4 innings. Now he hasn't pitched in over a month, but think about this. He's made 3 starts and only pitched 8 innings. He can't get out. He can't get any outs. He's got 8 innings, 18 hits, and 15 runs. So I don't even know why they're trying him again. I mean, if you're going to go out there and you're going to pitch 8 innings and give up 18 hits and 15 runs, I think you and I can do that, Jeff. So I'm kind of under the eye that you got a better pitcher in Skubal. Let's let him go out there and do his stuff. And then the last game that I was on today is in the Oakland A's today with Irvin. I think Irvin, in a lot of times, is undervalued pitcher for Oakland. I got him at minus 125 against Seattle. Gonzalez is Gonzalez is that guy that is the Zach Greinke, right? I mean, he can't throw to break a pane of glass, but if he's spotty and good and he can change the speeds and put it where he needs to do, that's when he's tough. He hasn't done that all season. His game score is a 42 for the year. He's a 568 Sierra number. Obviously, he doesn't strike anybody out. He's been walking people. He gets batting averages 350 against, and he's got a 1.93 whip rate. So I'll take Oakland in that game as a small favorite over Seattle.
Yeah, keep an eye on the East Coast, as I said, with weather. I got some alerts in Philly against Atlanta. Where else? The Red Sox, Yankees, and obviously Toronto and the Mets. Those are the three alert spots to keep an eye on. Some wet tracks there. As always, again, I can't beat this over you guys' head enough. It's Sunday. If you're waking up with a plan that, I'm going to get the man today because I'm down a bazillion units, you watch me, it usually doesn't end well. And anyone waking up this morning on the plus side, don't think of it as a free roll or a free swing. Think of it as, hey, you're 12 hours away from what we call as Envelope Monday. I mean, when you start to rewire yourself and start to program yourself to say it's okay Monday to collect a unit and a half, instead of waking up saying I'm going to turn that into 3, 4, 5 units, which usually again doesn't end well. And with football, just 5 weeks away, the three facts that we all like to say here at ECSI is very simple. Okay. In football, everyone has a favorite team or more than one favorite team. Everyone knows everything when technically they know nothing. And the casinos, the billion-dollar casinos and resorts now that you see in Vegas that are going up every other day are generally built a lot on these quote-unquote quicksand Sundays. So always, always, always bet with your head, not your heart. If you have a problem, please reach out. Call someone, reach out, talk to someone. It's okay. Tomorrow's always another day. So from myself at EC Sports Invest and Scotty at MLB.com, daily.com, I'm sorry. Thank you so much for spending your first part of Sunday morning with us. We'll be back tomorrow at the same time, and God willing on Tuesday as well. Best of luck with your tickets, and we'll catch you on the other side tomorrow.